I am at GrappleCon, and we're here with McKenzie Mitchell. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you so much. How are you?
I'm so good. It's so great to meet you.
Aw, thank you. It's great to meet everybody here at GrappleCon. And it's in my backyard. I live in Orlando, so it was really nice to kind of just come to a convention that's right beside my house, which was awesome.
And I feel like, it's a good thing to do to have this interview with you because broadcasters rarely are on the other side of the microphone, on the other side of the thing. So I wanted to ask your opinion. So lately, a lot of broadcasters, interviewers, commentators are characters in themselves. Do you think it's a good tendency for wrestling? Is that something that you think you're a part of as being noticeable characters you are? Or do you think our job is to highlight the talent more than anything?
Well, I think that the personalities, the interviewers, the commentators, whoever they are, they're also a part of the show. I think it's really interesting because a lot of people assume that you just hold a microphone, but in reality, it's you're kind of carrying on that story point, that conversation that's backstage, or if it's ringside or wherever it may be. So I think it's really important to show personality if you're a correspondent or whoever you are, because that's your part in the show, is you're a talent just as much as the rest of the talent is as well.
Definitely, and I think I would be expressing everyone's opinion if I say that you're a great broadcaster yourself. And I know this is a very broad question, but what do you think, if you had to pick one thing, what makes a good broadcaster?
I think it's important to listen in your interviews. I think often in wrestling, a lot of the time there's a script to follow by, or in any type of appearance or gig that you're taking. But I think it's just so important to listen to what your guest is saying, because you may have something that's in the back of your mind prepared for the next question, but then they may say something, your talent may say something that really just spawns something else. So it's always important to listen to what your guest is saying, your interviewee is saying, and just go with it and go with the flow of the interview. That's what makes the magic come to life for television.
As much as there's been a tendency for broadcasters being characters, there's also a tendency for hiring people who are not in wrestling, who don't have experience in wrestling, who don't even really watch the product. What's your opinion on that? Do you think the interviewer should be familiar with the product?
I think it's kind of up to them. I think for me, when I came into wrestling, I didn't know anything about the professional wrestling business. But I think it's the responsibility of the interviewer, the talent, the superstar, whomever it is, wrestler or just an interviewer, to really get to know what wrestling is, do their homework, study, put their head down and just dig deep into what they're doing. And that's in any position. If you're working at ESPN or SEC Network or whatever, you're still taking that time to understand what you're an expert on, per se. So I think it's just important in whatever role and whatever job you do to just study up and know your stuff.
And for a lot of people in our industry, WWE is the goal, and it's the peak, and it's something that everyone wants. It's a dream. But I feel like that's mostly true for in-ring workers. But for you, being the more versatile talent, is that something that you would want to circle back to, or do you have a new big goal on your horizon?
You know what? I've said this, and I think it's so cliche, but it's so true. Never say never. For me, I didn't get to check some things off of my list in WWE. I wanted to have that WrestleMania moment of my own. I think it's so important to have, to think of that. You asked me, is it just the talent or just the superstar? Are they, as the talent of the interviewer, just as important as the superstar? And I think that's true. I think, yes, we work just as hard. And so for me, it's I didn't get to tick those things off of my list of WrestleManias, Royal Rumbles, SmackDowns, Raw, being on tour. And so for me, I'd love to go back if that door still remains open.
Well, we're excited to see where the journey takes you next, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.